G'day everyone, welcome back to another edition of Guvs Hero Review videos. We are going to be continuing today with our Hunter series, taking a look this time at the 5-star legendary red hero or heroine, Axxent, the accomplished monster trapper. So Axxent is available for summons, as we saw, from the Monster Island portal, which rolls around once every 8 weeks along with its associated event. The portal odds, they aren't great, right? There's no featured heroes, which really hurts the odds of getting a specific hero. So there is only that 1% chance to summon any of the legendary event heroes. So to put that into a little bit of perspective, if you were to do 100 summons in this portal, you would have a 70% probability of getting any of the legendary event heroes, but if you were targeting a specific legendary hero, you would have only a 13.9% probability across those 100 summons. So not the greatest odds when you're chasing someone specific, but fairly in line with the typical odds when you're just going after any old hero in the portal. Axxent herself was added to the portal a long time ago, well, a long time ago now, alongside the majority of the heroes in that very first edition of the Monster Island event back in February 2022. So, you know, just over 2 years ago now. The portal has been expanded once since then in March 2023, when 3 additional heroes were added to the portal. In terms of her artwork, we'll just flip over to my roster and we can take a quick looky-see when I find a copy of Axxent. Those are results. There's some demolitions. There she is. So if we take a look at that artwork, so we've got like an axe rifle shotgun thing going on, is her primary weapon. She's got a net over her shoulder, so there might be some of those tiebacks to the Roman gladiator sort of arena. But yeah, she's got a shoulder plate with a monster's skull. I'm not sure if that's more effective than proper armor plating, but you know, it looks cool, so we'll give her that. But yeah, that's her artwork. Feel free to pause it if you so choose. Back to the portal, and we can continue having a look at her skill and stuff. So she is a member of the Hunter family, which means that she has a family bonus which grants her plus 10, 15, 20 or 25% additional healing when you have 2, 3, 4 or 5 unique monster heroes or hunter heroes in a battle. So there is particular emphasis on the word unique, so it has to be 2 different heroes. You can't bring along 2 copies of Axxent. It's got to be 2 different heroes, like Axxent and Barbie or Axxent and Brutus, for example. I do find this to be one of the weaker family bonuses. It is only an increase in healing. There's no real tieback from that to the monster family. There is only 1 healer in the entire family, which is Barbie. I feel a better family bonus might have been some kind of tie to the fiends or something like that, where you get additional fiend damage or more fiend effect or something like that. But yeah, the increased healing is pretty weak, generally speaking, even more so when you look at the rest of the Hunter family and see there is no synergy with it pretty well at all. The Hunter families also receive some additional bonuses when you use them during the Monster Island event. Specifically, they gain a 20% chance to cast a 1-turn delay and a 1-turn silence to the enemy targets when they cast their special skill. There's also a passive attack and defense bonus of plus 4, 8, 12, 16 or 20% attack and defense when you have 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5 unique heroes in your team. So note that this silence, attack, delay, whatever, and the attack and defense bonus, they only apply when you specifically use Axxent or another Hunter family member in the Monster Island event. It doesn't apply any other time of the game, right? It's not in raiding, it's not in wars or anything like that. It is only when you use them in the Monster Island event. All right. Moving on, her personal stats comes in at 721 attack, 712 defense, and 1,441 HP. Overall, pretty balanced. There's not really any skewing to speak of in amongst all of those stats. Her charge speed, 49, which is average speed and requires 11 tiles to charge. The speed break only requires +1, so you can achieve that using any speed weapon if you choose, or you can do it using the class node on her class emblem tree if you wish. So that's how you can get a single break. Double break does require +9, so you've got to get up to 58 speed, which again you can do just using the either of the 5-star weapons. So there's the Chekhov SVK or the Firewing Trig. Both of those give you +9 improvement. Alternatively, you can also get that speed break with a +7 weapon, so the 4-star Tigger Happy, if you combine it with the class emblem node, which generates 2% additional charge. So the charge node does have some significance if you are not wanting to apply a +9 weapon to her. If you are going to put a +9 weapon on Axxent, you probably don't need that charge node at all, but it's up to you really what weapons you've got and how they're going to apply. On the topic of her class, Axxent is a member of the Demolitions class, which grants the chance to shell shock the enemy by removing buffs from the target whenever they deal damage. So the removal of buffs will also trigger an increase of +15% damage per each buff removed, as well as a flat increase in normal damage of 50%. So I do personally love the Demolitions perk. It is effectively a free opportunity to dispel buffs from the enemies without needing to bring along a specific dispeller or charge additional special skills. So you can do it with tiles or minions or anything like that. So because of this, I personally will give my Demolitions class heroes at least +1 whenever I can, just to have that chance of activating the shell shock ability. In terms of a specific emblem path, so I'll jump over to my roster and show you what I've done on my Axxent. So this is my talent tree. I have followed an attack path to increase her damage output a little bit. You can go for a defense HP path. I personally don't think it's too valuable on her. It doesn't really synergize with her skills, but this is the path I've gone with. So we can see that I've followed attack at each node. Each time there's an attack path, we've just picked it up. There is no choices where you've got to choose between attack on either side of the tree. It is only one choice for attack the whole way down. That's what I've done. You can see I've also picked up the speed node down the bottom. This was because for a while I was using Axxent on my defense team, so I figured the speed break would be nice, but yeah, you don't really have to pick it up if you want to save Demolitions emblems for someone else. Cool, and those are our stats as well at that attack path. So we get up to 826 attack, which is, you know, about 100 improved attack from her base stats. Her special skill. So her special skill is titled Flank Swing, and at level 10 skill and 49 charge speed, it will deal 255% damage to the target and nearby enemies. It will then apply a net fiend to the target and nearby enemies, which has 15% attack each turn, and will absorb healing to a total of 25% of the recipient's HP, or maximum HP. It will then also apply a -25% accuracy debuff to the target and nearby enemies, which is active for as long as they have a net fiend, and that accuracy element also applies to special skills. So a little bit going on there. So let's start off with the direct damage. So as always, damage is quite hard to calculate consistently because there is a lot of variation to what feeds into that damage calculation. So what we do instead, which is analogous to the overall damage output, is we just calculate their attack power, which is you take their attack stat multiplied by the percentage in the special skill. And we can see in the case of Axxent, she comes in with an attack power of 1,839 attack power per enemy. If we break that down and normalize it against her speed, we divide by the 11 tiles to charge it, and we come out with an attack power per tile of 167, which is enough to land her smack bang pretty well in the middle bracket of the red DOA 3 hitters. We can see that, you know, you've got the best one, which is Magma, who does DOA 3 and is also a fiend, monster hunter hero as well. Then you've got Bunraku and Zidane, who are better, or Zidane variant. Then you've kind of got this little block where you've got Axxent, Brock, and Dapper Santa, who are all within 1 or 2 points of each other. So very closely packed for 4 through 6, 4, 5, and 6 spots. And then you've got a couple others a little bit further down. So yeah, not a bad damage dealer, you know, fairly middle of the road, definitely a step up from the bottom half of the list, definitely a step down from the upper half, but you've also got the ability to proc the Demolitions Shock ailment, which does 15% additional damage per buff that gets removed. So quite easy for her to actually ratchet further up that list, because none of the ones above her are demolition classes. You've got Thrasher variant, Thrasher, which is Warfighter, Bunraku, who's Spy, Magma, who's Warfighter as well. So yeah, able to jump up a couple notches with that bonus 20% or 15% flat damage improvement. In terms of the Fiend, so The Fiend is applied to the target and nearby enemies. Fiends are very interesting because they have HP, but they also don't have HP. So in the case of Axxent's Fiend, it will absorb up to 25% of the recipient's HP, which is what is shown when you like press and hold on a target hero in a battle. It comes up as their detailed information. There are sort of 3 ways that you can remove Fiends from existence. So the first one is obviously you just heal it away. So you lose that health that you would apply as healing to your heroes. Second way is that you can use a Fiend Destruction hero. There is only one of them at this point in the time, so that's Marrow, but that is another option. And the third option is that you can actually dislodge them by just summoning a bunch of minions. So the Fiend actually sits in one of the 3 minion slots. So if you summon 3 minions, it will push the Fiend off the end of the list. So you can dislodge them using minions as well. So one really interesting thing with Axxent's Fiend is because they attack every turn for that 15% damage, that attack is actually attributed to Axxent. So it uses her attack stat for that 15%, which means that it actually still picks up all of the bonuses that Axxent has on her card. So most notably is it still has that chance to proc the Demolitions talent. So if you pump out the Fiends onto enemy heroes, they then summon a bunch of buffs. Those Fiends actually have the chance to remove those buffs from existence each turn when they attack. So because of this, even though they're not the beefiest of Fiends, they don't have the highest attack stat of the Fiends, I actually think Axxent's Fiends are the most effective in the game because they retain that shell shock ability. So, you know, you've then got an ongoing basis of having that chance to dispel or remove buffs from the targeted enemies, turn on turn on turn on turn. The last part of her skill lists that the Fiend applies a minus 25% accuracy debuff, which lasts for as long as the Fiend is in existence. So it means that if you can control the enemy team's healing using like charge control or even healing inhibition skills, or there is simply no healers left alive or in the team at all, this accuracy debuff will last the entire fight. Which makes it highly, highly effective. You know, 25%, that's a 1 in 4 chance that enemy skills and enemy slash attacks or even tiles are actually going to miss. So very, very powerful effect. It is worth noting that the debuff only applies on the initial instance when the Fiend is summoned. So if there is a resistance in play or there's a ailment blocker in play, the Fiend's accuracy debuff will not apply. All right, even if the Fiend is still there, it only comes up on the first cast of her skill. So very powerful though. You know, accuracy is key, right? If you've got inaccuracy and you've got dodge, those two effects compound on each other. So you can have a 16% dodge plus a minus 25% accuracy debuff, and because they're procced individually, it sort of goes up and up and up and up and up exponentially the amount of chance to avoid the damage in a fight. So overall, I love Axxent, right? I have plans to level 1, 2, 3 more copies of her. I just have to get to it. There's a long list of red heroes. Her damage output is solid. You know, it works well when it's combined with any other DOA 3 hitters or even snipers to act as a 1-2 punch. The demolition talent is awesome, particularly in this current meta with buff heavy defenses. And the fact that the Fiends retain that demolitions talent just is really, really interesting. It's really funny when you just 5 turns later, the Fiend is still there, and then like Ayumi or I don't know who else makes a lot of buffs, Aviana, for example, when they then fire their effects, and then there's just these Fiends there, you haven't done anything, and the Fiends are just like, nope, buff's gone. It's really quite interesting. Fiends themselves, 25%, it is pretty solid, you know, for Axxent. If it was 25% of her HP, it comes out as being 360 healing absorbed, which is, you know, 3/4 of someone like Jacosta's healing that she gives off, or Pulse for that matter. So yeah, very, very powerful. The accuracy debuff on the Fiend with the Demolitions talent means that for me, Axxent is one of the best attacking heroes, definitely the best of the Fiend effects that we have in the game. So for her grading, I am going to rate Axxent as getting an A- for war and raid attacks. This is on the back of mostly that Demolitions, the Fiend, her damage, like it's just everything. She's a really great attacking hero. For War Machines, I'm only going to give her a B. The accuracy debuff is good, don't get me wrong. You can stack it with something like I'm pretty sure you can stack it with the flashbangs to get even more inaccuracy, but as I said, you just have dodge guns and it goes really well to avoiding the War Machine's hefty damage. Eventing, decent DOA 3 damage, and the inaccuracy is still good, so I'm going to give her a B+ for eventing. For raid and war defenses, I'm probably going to give her a B+. She can work really in any of the 3 defensive positions. I'd probably say her best spot though is flank, just allowing her to be a little bit sheltered but also not have to wait out in the wings to charge and take all the damage of the tank. But yeah, flank is probably her best position. In the raid tournament setting, so Bloody Battle, obviously there is no healing, which means that the Fiend and that inaccuracy and the demolitions talent is there to stay. So I'm going to give her an A grade for attack and an A- for Bloody Battle defense. On the buff boosters, she doesn't really contribute too much other than the demolitions talent, so she does retain an A- grade on attack and a B+ grade on defense. And then finally, for charged attack, she does go up from 49 speed to 65, which is a pretty good speed improvement. So I'm going to give her an A grade for her charged attack grade and a B+ on defense. So overall, that comes out as having a A- for her attack grade and a B+ for her overall defense grade. And that concludes the content that I have for this review of Axxent. As always, these are just my personal opinions on these heroes. I do love hearing your thoughts and feedback on stuff that I might have missed or your own considerations, so please do jump down into the comments section, leave me a note. I always try to read and respond to as much as I can. If you did enjoy this video and found it to be useful, like it, subscribe to the channel and all of that, but most importantly, share the video around, because realistically, if this content is useful for yourself, it's also going to be useful to the other people that you play with as well. Thank you once again for tuning in and joining me for this review video. I do hope I will see you again soon, but until then, good luck, stay safe, and happy gaming. Cheers, bye!